Hello, everybody. This is going to be my first ever YouTube video. Um, kind of just going to go over a little bit about who I am, what I do, what this channel is going to be about, and just documenting everything along the way. So, my name is Zane. Go by Muskie on TikTok and Instagram and everything. My main thing on here has been running and doing marathons, ultra marathons, and things like that. Uh, so I'd like to give you guys a little bit of details and stuff about maybe how I got into it and what my goals are, what I'd love to accomplish, and just take you guys along for the journey. I've kind of been doing it for a while on TikTok and a little bit on Instagram, showing, the progress and the journey, but I've really wanted to get more into documenting it. And so I think the next step that makes sense to me would be to start making YouTube videos. So, my first ever race was I did a marathon in April of 2023. What kind of inspired me to do the marathon? First things first, my mom's a stud. She's been running marathons for, I don't know, as long as I can remember growing up. She's ran a marathon in all 50 states. She's just now getting into the ultras, which is super cool. But yeah, she's a stud. So that's one of the big motivations for getting into the running. Another one would be I watched Nick Bear's documentary, More Than the Miles, about his Leadville run.
Whether it was people's, I met someone, this woman, it was her 66th marathon she was running.
That's impressive.
66 this past weekend.
And I don't know, I was just scrolling on YouTube late at night in my college apartment, just kind of feeling like a fat sack of shit, because that's kind of what I was. After I watched that, it really motivated me. So as soon as I finished watching that, I texted my mom and I was like, you know what? What's your next state? What's your next marathon? I think I'm going to run it with you. So just wasn't running at all at the time. Just probably hadn't ran in a couple years. So I just texted her and was like, fuck it. Next one you do, I'll do it with you. So that ended up being the Martian Marathon in Dearborn, Michigan. And so I decided to run it in February, and it was in April. No running whatsoever. Probably had a pretty shitty prep. I think the longest run I went on before it was a 16 miles. And I did that at like a 10-minute pace, and that felt like hell on the treadmill. But we got there. We showed up. Nervous as hell. Didn't know if I was even going to make it there, but I did have a goal of sub 4. So we got there and then, took off, and things went much better than I expected. Ended up finishing in 3 hours and 36 minutes. So completely crushed that 4-hour time goal, but it kind of wrecked me too. I didn't even have running shoes, just some old beat Nikes. And no fueling strategy whatsoever. Just kind of went out there and wung it, but kind of made me realize, I'm like, shit, 3:36, that's a lot better, and maybe I'm not too bad at this thing. So then logically took like a month or two off, and then hopped directly into a 100-miler was the next thing I decided to sign up for. So that was in August of 2023. The Lean Horse 100, still to this day, probably the most like physically demanding, hardest challenge I've had to do yet. Probably doesn't help, I just started running earlier that year, and I did train my ass off for it though. That was a lot better of a prep. So I ended up finishing that in like 28 hours. Went out really fast, finished the first half in like 10 hours. and just blew up and just pretty much had to walk the last like 40 some miles. But we got there. We made it to the finish line. "28 hours." That's a Rails Trails race. It's still got my name. I gotta probably have to come back for it next year if I don't get into Leadville. But then after that, kind of was burnt myself out. After that, kind of just rested my hat on the fact that I did a 100-miler and kind of got complacent there for a little while. But I did sign up for the Panama City Beach Marathon in December of 2023, and I ran that with a good buddy of mine. But that ended up being the worst weather I've ever ran in. The lady at our hotel said that was the most rain that they'd ever got without having a hurricane. So that was a lot of fun. Basically running through a stream this deep the whole time. But we ended up getting that done in 4 hours. So slower than our first marathon. So that was kind of discouraging, but I wasn't too upset with it. Then I kind of took a break, was just not really doing much. And I signed up for Last Man Standing in May of 2024 in Ouray, Colorado. That one, I just moved from the college town to a new spot. There's a lot of excuses, but basically I just didn't get in any training whatsoever. I think I went on one run that was 8 miles. Other than that, everything was like 4 miles. And it's not like I was running every day either. It was not a very good prep. I kind of was gained a little weight back. I was pretty heavy. It's probably 205, 210. But I ended up getting 15 loops or yards. So 62 miles, 100K. Which I'll say, looking back on it's not bad at all for basically no prep whatsoever. Then after that, I took a pretty decent break because I was like, I don't know about this. And that one hurt really bad. But then moved out of Cheyenne, Wyoming is where I was living, moved up to Rapid City where I'm at now. And kind of the change of location and environment helped me to kind of lock back in and figure out that I wanted to really, lock in and chase after this thing. So I found a marathon that was 4 months out so I could do a full 16-week prep. So that was the St. Jude Marathon in Memphis. So I put a full 4-month, 16-week prep. I think I didn't miss hardly any workouts, maybe one or two, but really busted my ass. And I ended up running a 2:52:20. So I had beat my previous personal best by like 40 some minutes. And then that's when I really realized, like, shit, maybe I could be pretty damn good at this. So then after that, I ran the Austin Marathon in February of this year was my next thing. That one I had gotten really sick the week before. So then I just kind of went out and I was like, we're going to try for our sub 250, but if it's not going to work, it's not going to work. So went out, held it for a while, and just wasn't my day. But so we ended up running about 3 flat. Yes. Finished right between Lucy Davis and Luke Hopkins, so that was a pretty cool experience too. And just being able to meet all those people. And that's kind of when I decided, I was like, you know what, shit, I'm going to really lock into the old TikTok and social media thing and kind of record and upload and document everything that I'm doing around this. Because, it's when you meet them, you realize that they're just people, and why can't I do that? Kind of would be my dream to be able to run and compete for a living. So then after that, we signed up for another last man standing to kind of redeem ourselves after the last one. In Huntsville, it's the Devil's Racetrack Backyard Ultra. It's a really cool event. I think they just had it again because they moved it to a fall thing, so they just had it again. But it's also a bronze level race, so they have, for the last man standing, there's bronze. If you win that, you qualify for the silver medal. If you win that, then you get a spot at Bigs and the World Championships. So I did end up doing very well there. Ended up winning that with 25 yards, 104 miles in 25 hours. So that was cool. And that was another thing that made me realize, like, shit, maybe instead of just showing up and doing these races, that maybe I could start competing and looking to get the win at some of these. So after the Huntsville, I actually felt really good after that. Didn't like feel terrible or broken down. Then we did the Casper Marathon, which felt really ready for it. Like, felt fast. The damn stomach issues got to me though, bad. So ended up getting third place there. Ran a 2:57, but I mean, there's probably a good 10, 12 minutes of bathroom breaks in there. Then after that, my goal was to go sub 120 in a half marathon because I'd never run a half marathon before. So I signed up for, there's a local one around where I grew up in Nebraska called the Sealson Half Marathon. It's an awesome race. It's really small, but it's an awesome race out there in the Sand Hills. So if you get a chance to run that one, I would definitely say run it. But ended up winning that. Ran a 119 something. Less than a minute off the course record. So maybe we'll go back next year and shoot for that. Valentine, 52K. So what it was essentially was their full marathon course and then their 10K course. Ended up winning that. I think it was an average pace of like 6:37 per mile for 30, close to 33 miles. You know, it's also kind of wild. I PR'd my marathon at some point in there. According to Strava, I hit a 2:51 something within that 52K. So that was a pretty big confidence booster and like let me know that I am improving in fitness and getting faster. Then after that, we had the Lean Horse 100, which it didn't go the way we wanted it to. It's we started out great. I wanted to gun for the course record. That was the goal, was to get the course record, which is just over 15 hours. So I wanted to go sub 15, be the first person to break 15 on that course. And we came out blazing. We were going great. Honestly, didn't have any issues for the first 70 miles. We were on pace to crush it. Shit, I came into the turnaround at 6:49. So just cruising till mile 70. Then started having the shits. And that was, you know, we had to stop a few times. But we could deal with that. That was all right. Stomach pain, but we could get through that. But then we got to mile 80, and that's when fucking hit the brick wall. Started puking, couldn't keep nothing down. And then it was just death marched for 5 miles to make it to the next aid station, and didn't make it past that, so unfortunately. So really sucks. Nobody likes DNFing. 20 miles to go. Bonking hard. Just threw up a couple times. About every couple miles I gotta stop and peel off into the woods and take a shit. But shortly, I think it was a week after the Lean Horse, I found out I got into the BPN Survive the Night Ultra. which is in 2 weeks from today, or from yesterday. And super excited about that. I can't wait to go down there and just be in that environment. But so we have the Cowboy 200 after the Lean Horse, and I kind of have been just thinking about the Survive the Night Ultra, so I don't know if my heart just wasn't in it or my head wasn't in it. But I ended up DNFing at the damn Cowboy 200 also. Made it to mile 96 and just decided I didn't have another 104 miles in my legs. I kind of had some IT band issues that started at like mile 15 and trudged along for another 80 miles. You know, that one stings. It sucks. It hurts. Nobody likes that, especially 2 DNFs in a row when I haven't like really had to experience that at all. It's kind of a big hit to the ego and confidence, but I think hopefully we can crush it at the Survive the Night Ultra and bounce back. And then after that, we have 3 weeks after the Survive the Night Ultra. We'll have that last man standing in Texas that I qualified for. If we win that sucker, we get a spot at the World Championships. So I'm going to try my damnedest to win that. I also want to be at least top 2, if not win the Survive the Night Ultra, to get a spot in the Go One More Ultra, because I think that's kind of my shit, the last man standing format. That's pretty much my race history and what I've done and what I've got coming up. I will be running the Austin Marathon again in February. Super cool experience. I love going down there. So I'm going to be going down there a lot here, especially if I do end up getting a spot in the G1M Ultra. It's going to be down there quite a few times, but I kind of got a bucket list of races too that I'd like to do someday. I might make a separate video for that, but that's kind of my whole history around racing and running. And so I've only been doing it for a little over 2.5 years. I guess it's kind of creeping up on 3 now, but yeah, that's my history, and I just want to keep on rolling and keep competing, keep getting better. There's a lot of room to go. I've came a long way, but there's a lot of room to go. But so it's good to kind of upload this, start this journey on here, because I've been wanting to for a long time, but just sitting down and getting it done has been a bit of a hurdle that I've needed to get over. But that's about all I've have to talk about. So that's about all I have to talk about. So might think of some more video ideas and see if I can't get something going. But all right,